I have got to quit drinking. Like I have to. It is the best thing I have ever done in my entire life. We had gotten in a huge fight because we had been drinking, and Lucas turns and looks at me and goes, "You guys always do this." We're in the happiest place on earth, and I have my son telling me, like, we always do this. And it still didn't even click that. I feel like when you're drinking all the time, like the brain fog, like we all know that terminology. And it's so true. Alcohol was still a huge, it was almost like my friend in a way. And it sounds so strange. When I stopped drinking, it was almost like a loss of some kind. I was that dark and that depressed and that sad because of alcohol. Like it 1000% was of alcohol. I would black out a lot. There's nights I don't remember anything. Like absolutely nothing. That's not cool. I was famous for like getting drunk and then eating. What am I doing? Like, why am I eating mac and cheese and dino nuggets? I mean, those are delicious, but like,
I know.
What the freaking hell am I doing?
You're almost probably 570 days sober?
62. Yeah. I still have an app on my phone that I just like to look at occasionally because I'm like, I used to check it like every single day, like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. But now it's like past 500. Like once I get to like 2 years and like 1,000, I think that'll be cool. But I just looked at it today because I was like, I wonder. But yeah, 562 days, which is wild.
It is.
It's crazy.
And they say not to count the, like when I first started my channel, people are like, stop counting the days. I'm like, I have to count the days until I get to the months. And now it's months and then it turns into years.
Yeah.
But those fun numbers.
It is. And like when I first, just to kind of give some context. So this is the cat climbing on my head. The reason I found your channel is because I became sober because I did 75 hard.
What?
And you also did 75 hard. And when I first started 75 hard, I was like a sponge for information because I wanted to be able to, whether it's watch someone on YouTube or listen to a podcast or read something, like I wanted to know, you know, at 30 days, I'm going to see this. And at 60 days, I'm going to see this. Because I really did 75 hard. Yes, it's like a fitness challenge and it's a mental challenge, but for me it was to get rid of alcohol. I was like, I need to do something, and that's
how the opposite. That's the opposite of me. I just did it because everybody else was doing it. Like 8 of us were doing it, and I'm like, well, I have to do it. And I went into it with not trying to get rid of alcohol, and I got rid of alcohol.
Yeah, at my gym that I go to like kind of, it's like I don't want to say a private gym, but it's like a warehouse gym, which is kind of different from Massachusetts. Like we don't really have those here just because the weather is not that good, like especially right now. But the owner of the gym constantly does 75, and people do it just because everyone else is doing it. Like that's a lot of the reason why people do it, you know, so you can post on Instagram and be like, I'm at day blah, blah, blah. But for me, I was like, I have got to quit drinking. Like I have to. And I knew that it was a way for me to hold myself accountable. And then also the owner of my gym knew I was doing it. So he'd check in on me like, how are we? What are we doing? And I will say that 75 hard, it's hard. It's meant to be hard, but it is the best thing I have ever done in my entire life. I would never do it again because I don't think I need to. Like,
oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. I told my husband, he's like, well, I want to do it again. And I tried doing it again. And
same. And
like, I liked it. Well, I quit because of my hip, but I like the discipline aspect of it. But at the same time, like, I feel like I already have a lot of those discipline aspects to me, and I created such a different
1000%.
lifestyle for myself once I finished, and I was like, I don't know what else I can accomplish besides just growing myself.
Fitness has been like my savior 1000%, and I worked out while I drink, which as we all know is a waste of time. So for me, I'm like, I already go to the gym once or twice a day. Like I eat quite well, probably like 90-10. But like, I'm not going to, you know, be so angry at myself because I ate a crumble cookie and then have to start over. Like that, it's just, for me, it's like, I already have so much discipline in my life that I don't feel the need to do it again. And I did start it again. And I stopped because I was like, why am I doing this? Like, just so I can check something off on my phone and then take a picture of myself. Like, I really don't want to take a picture of myself. I'm good. And I think
it's really awkward scrolling through your album and you're like, strange. Oh, well, I didn't delete that yet.
Yeah. I am glad I did it though for when I quit drinking because the physical benefits of quitting drinking, that wasn't my main purpose of quitting drinking. It was more like the mental piece and like my emotional stability. But it is cool to see like day one of 75 hard versus where I'm at now. Granted, it's been a very long amount of time, but it's insane. Like in this, I've never fixated on like the number on the scale because I don't really believe we should do that. Because like if I told people how much I'd weigh, they'd probably be like, no, you don't, because I weigh more than I look, obviously.
Same.
But just seeing the physical changes from day one of 75 to now, it's mind blowing. And it's all because of alcohol. Like
Yes.
it's nuts. Like when I was drinking, I don't think my diet was even that bad. Like I don't think I ate the right things and I probably didn't eat enough because I had that mindset of like, oh, if I'm gonna drink, I'm not gonna eat. It's so bad.
Terrible.
So
I feel like
but that was kind of my mentality. Or I'd be like, oh, I know I'm going to drink. So I'm going to go to the gym or I'm going to try and sweat out my hangover. And it's like, none of those things work. Like, none of it works. Absolutely none of it. Like, anyone that's lying to you that's like, oh, drink tequila and soda water. Like, it's still alcohol.
I feel like you're stealing everything out of my mouth. Like, if that was my
life. Like, because I talk to people all the time, like, that at my gym and whatnot, and that people do drink. Like it's not, I don't look at you like, oh my goodness, you drink. Like obviously if you're doing something stupid, 1000%, but you know, they'll be like, oh, it's fine because I drink this or I drink that. I'm like, at the end of the day, it's still alcohol. Like it doesn't matter what form it's in. Obviously, if you're drinking beer and wine, like the caloric intake is going to be higher than your clearer booze, but like it's still alcohol. Like it doesn't matter. It's just, I don't know. It's nuts. But 75 hard is how and why I became sober. And I think for me, I was trying to like think back in my head. I'm like, when did I start drinking? And I grew up in England till I was 8 or 9. And
wow.
Yeah. So in Europe, and my understanding of it at least, is that drinking when you're younger, like at dinners and stuff, is a lot more common than it is here. So from my mother's memory, and I vaguely remember being a very, very, very young child and drinking wine, not to like get drunk, but it was more just like the kids, like the joke is in England, if you can see over the bar, they'll serve you.
Yeah.
Like it's such a different mentality over there than it is here. Which has its pros and cons. I mean, I think it probably leads to people having less curiosity about alcohol, but then it probably leads to more people having drinking problems because you're exposed to it younger. So it's I don't know, it's a double-edged sword. But I think in my like high school years, which is crazy because Lucas is always like, did you drink in high school? Because he's a senior in high school. I'm like, no, never. I don't lie to him. I'm like, yeah, I did. But that was what we did. Like on the weekends, we would like go to parties and, you know, get the older sibling to buy us booze or try and steal their ID, which is so funny in hindsight. I'm like, what were we doing? Like, so dumb. But I think the turning point for me was my divorce that I had mentioned prior. So my ex-husband and I never lived together. We had a very, strange, very strange. He lived on Cape Cod in Massachusetts, which is like 2 hours from where I live in Mass. And then about, I think it was the same year we got married, and we were together for 7 years total. The same year we got married, he moved to Florida. So we would only see each other like on the weekends. I was flying back and forth, and our entire relationship was around alcohol.
Like, so I just have to know.
No, of course.
Out of curiosity, not to like sound like a rude ass. Like, was the point? What was the point of being married if you guys didn't like even live in the same state? Like, I know it's probably common, a lot more common, and I like people sleep in different rooms now, but like different states.
That's like my ID in marriage now. I'm like, say that all away from me. We're good. So it's unfortunate, but at the time, I was trying to get my son out of the state. So, in my dumb, ignorant mind, I thought if we were married, it would be easier to do so. It's not easy.
Okay.
Anyone like I don't know if I had just like misinformation or my attorney didn't, provide me with the correct guidance, but I should have never tried. Like I hate having regrets because I think there's nothing we can do about it. But if there's something there's two things I would regret. It's the amount I drank in front of my son and putting him through that because it just was not good. So my ex moved and we were going through this like heinous court case at the same time. I don't know if, anyone that's been through any kind of family probate type court situation, it's terrible. And I always say that it's like the adults deal with it the most, but the kids are the ones that are most affected. And in hindsight, I'm like, you freaking idiot, but there's nothing I can do now. But that's why he lived there. I was here. I was trying to move, which I think it didn't work out.
Because Lucas's dad is
up
in the
here.
same state as you. Yep.
Yeah. He lives in the same town next to me. Like it's crazy. Like I think about it and I'm like, what was I thinking? But then I'm like, was it because I was drinking so much and I just didn't have like a firm understanding of like the consequences, and then it just wasn't worth it.
Hey guys, I hope that you're enjoying this podcast. Welcome to Nicole Coffee. We are overcoming addiction. This is locally roasted here in Boise, Idaho. I ship it out. It is organic and chemical free. We got a decaf, which is 0 proof decaf. We have a blackout free espresso. We got a no regrets medium, and we got a fresh start medium dark. I hope you guys will check it out in the description below.
I'm surprised like the police were never called because the amount of fights that we would get into because of alcohol was just disgusting. Like it's embarrassing. Like I think back and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what was I doing? Like I don't know. Like we used to go to Disney all the time. Like I got engaged in Disney. Like I loved Disney, but we liked like the adult way of doing Disney, which everyone thinks it's like, oh, Magic Kingdom, Mickey Mouse. No, like you can I know Magic Kingdom for the most part, it's pretty much like a dry park. I think they've incorporated some alcohol at this point, but like all the other parks, you can just walk around and drink. So that's what we would do. And I will never forget. We were leaving one of the parks, getting on like the tram trolley things or whatever to the parking garage. And my son at the time, he was probably like 7 or 8, around the same age as your kids. We had gotten in a huge fight because we had been drinking, and Lucas turns and looks at me and goes, you guys always do this. And I'm like, we're in the happiest place on earth. And I have my son telling me like, we always do this. And it still didn't even click then. And I'm just like, you dumbass. I mean, but
ultimately yourself, like some people might say that you called your child dumbass. Sorry. I just have to point out for the haters, like she's talking about herself.
No, I'm talking about, yes, 1000% myself. Yeah. I would never say that about my son, but it was just like so disappointing. Like the amount of situations I put him in that I would never do that if it wasn't for alcohol. Like no freaking way. And, I ended up getting divorced and, we went our separate ways and that's fine. But alcohol was still a huge, it was almost like my friend in a way. And it sounds so strange, but like
your best friend.
Yes. And like when I stopped drinking, it was almost like a loss of some kind because I wasn't the one that was like going out to bars at night or doing it like, please, I want to be in bed by like 8 p.m. Like that's always how I've been. And I wasn't the one that was doing any of that. It was more like I'd come home from work. And whether I had a good day, a bad day, just a day, whatever it was, I always had my wine. Like I was a big wine drinker. That was my Pinot or my Merlot. We were like best friends. And I would, come home and every single day it was like being on a hamster wheel that's on fire, just doing the same goddamn thing. And
did you have full custody of your son or 50-50?
Nope, 50-50. Yeah, it's so stupid. Don't ever, no, if anyone's listening, don't ever try that. And the thing is, you can paint a picture of the other parent to be the worst person on this planet. But at the end of the day, the judge is gonna, and we had a guardian ad litem and all that, which was terrible. They're gonna come to their own conclusion. Like you can say that and the thing is, in hindsight, like he's a fantastic dad. And, you know, I think if anything, that whole experience made my relationship with him stronger because I came out of it like I really should not have done that. And it was so selfish. But I do think I wasn't thinking straight. I thought, I don't even know what, like, if I could go back to myself then and just be like, why would you do that? Like, why? And for what? Because the relationship I had with this person was so tumultuous and so toxic and so horrible because we were drinking so much. Like, literally, I would drink on the plane flying down to Florida. I would get to our house in Florida and we would start drinking. Like, it was just constant. And then I used to get like the most debilitating hangovers on this planet. Like, I don't know if because it messes with like your blood sugar so much. Like I would get like wicked lightheaded and I'd pass out. Like and then I would drink more because I was miserable. Like it just, yeah, it's not, not a good thing. But after I got divorced, like I was still drinking. I was still doing all of that. And, you know, I've always worked out. I've always been like a pretty fit person. But like I was saying earlier, you know, I would go to the gym because I knew I was going to drink. And in my head, I'm like, well, they cancel each other out. It's fine. Like, I'm good.
Like now when I see women on like Stairmasters or treadmills or ellipticals being like, oh, sweating out the alcohol, I'm like, you're a dumbass.
Yeah, it does not work. Like I always say to people now that are, because I'm not like I'm not certified in training or anything like that. I've just gained a lot of knowledge over the years. So I don't, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know, but I know a decent amount.
The entire world is full of people that aren't actually certified and they're making tons of money and changing people's lives not being certified. So
it's crazy. It is crazy. Yeah. Like I said before we started recording, like I don't have Instagram or anything. And that's just a personal choice I've made. Like I just social media and I don't know what it is. I'm just weird. I don't like it. And everyone feels like you could like start an Instagram. I'm like, number one, it's so saturated with, to your point, like people that are making so much money by changing people's lives. And it's like, I also just like, I help, like there's a group of girls at my gym that we're all pretty close. And like, I've helped some of them, but I always say to them, I'm like, you're doing the damn work. Like, I'm not doing it. Like you're the one that's putting in the work. But no, to your point, it's like these people that are like sweating out the hangover. And it's like, why? But that was me. That was 1,000% me. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, I feel like crap. Like I go to one gym in the morning I'm weird and I like to do cardio in the morning because my job, I do sit all day. So I really like to get movement in. And I'll be driving sometimes to the gym and it's almost like I have PTSD of when I used to go to the gym hungover. And I'm like, am I hungover? I'm like, what? Hungover from what? Like melatonin? Like seltzer water? Like it is the weirdest thing how it just like creeps up on you sometimes. But yeah, working out, you cannot out-train a bad diet and you definitely cannot out-train alcohol.
And I used to sit in the sauna. We had a red sauna at the gym that I worked at, and I would go sit in there trying to sweat out my hangover.
Yep.
After I just sweated during a workout. Like, it's so pathetic.
It's crazy, but I think unfortunately, just as a society, like alcohol it's a drug. You know, we'll call it what it is, but it's the only drug that's marketed to be something so wonderful and cool and you're hip and, you know, look at all the friends I have and the social life and all this stuff. And it's the furthest freaking thing from the truth. Like, you know, you might have that moment of like, and we all remember it, like when you have a few sips of drink and it's kind of like that, like, feeling. But then what comes along with it? Like, I don't know about anyone else, but after I got divorced, the people I dated when I was drinking, in hindsight, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? No offense to them, but just like the choices we make because of alcohol. And like, no one's ever come out of like a completely sober experience and like really regretted it. I can guarantee because you're completely present and you're able to make the correct decisions and you have clarity and you're like, no, that's probably not a good idea. Or, yeah, that is. But when you drink, it's like everyone's your best friend. You know, guys that look like a thumb, you're like, oh, they're good looking. Like, it's just, it's crazy. Like, it just,
I think we call those whiskey glasses.
Yes. Or beer goggles.
Beer goggles.
Yeah, whiskey glasses. I definitely have a lot of pairs of those that have dust on them, which I will not put back on because I'm like, that was horrible. But yeah, alcohol for me, it was like my best friend, but then also my worst enemy. And it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. So I keep like an actual planner. Like I'm kind of old school. I write things down. I also use like Outlook and whatnot, but I like to have a visual for appointments that we might have or whatever the hell it is, social things I have with my friends. And I have a bunch of them from since I've been working from home, which would be COVID. I've been home since then. And I was looking for something the other day or whatever, and I was going through them. The amount of times I wrote down, this is before I got sober, like 30 days sober, like you can do this. Like I would try to be sober and I would never make it. I would like every other month there'd be like you can't drink like Monday through Thursday. I don't know why I would like make rules.
You're trying to control it.
Yeah, doesn't work. Or I would say, if you quit drinking for this month, you can get Botox. I would like try and bargain with myself. It's crazy. And it's nuts because up until I started 75 Hard on July 5th of 2023, I never made it more than like probably a week.
Oh, so you're 5 days ahead of me.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah. Did I know this?
I don't know.
Because some people quit like literally a week before me or a week after me, like some of my regular people. But okay, so I started July 10th.
Yep.
2023.
Yeah, and that was like I was saying, that's how I found you because with 75 Hard, like I wanted so badly to just like have all the information and also too just like you can read anything online like at this point. If you want to read that like the earth is flat or whatever the hell it is, like you can find that at this point online. But I was obsessed with what is going to happen at all these different milestones because I wanted initially it does suck. Like, let's all admit it. Quitting drinking it's hard. And I should probably say this. I don't think I was necessarily like, the clinical definition of an alcoholic. I don't know if I was because the day I quit, I just quit. And I didn't have any
walls.
No. And it's interesting. There's like either one, it's alcohol, maybe one other drug. Alcohol is the one of the few drugs that can actually kill you from withdrawals, which is crazy. And people still drink
insane.
it.
Yeah. I'm like, I've seen people close to us that have withdrawn from alcohol several times. I'm like, why do you keep putting yourself through this? Just freaking quit and stay quit.
Yep.
Like you're going to kill yourself one day withdrawing. And that's a whole different story. But
it's crazy.
I feel like people like me and you may have had like alcohol use disorder because obviously like people will tell you that you're an alcoholic if you have 2 drinks a day, or some people won't like say that you're an alcoholic until you have 7 drinks a day. Everybody's definition of alcoholic is way different, but like people like me and you are not like the typical brown bottle against the like brick wall like rehab.
No, we're not brushing our teeth with McGillicuddy's or anything. No. But at the same time, like I think there's such a fine line between that because, and then the whole term like a functioning alcoholic, it's like, was I that? Because to everyone else, people that knew me well, I think they knew. And up until I did 75 Hard, like I was absolutely like miserable. Like, and I always thought like I'm a depressed person. I'm an anxious person. No, it was just alcohol. Like, I do think I'm an anxious person. I think we all can be dependent upon the situation. Like, especially if I can't control a situation, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what's happening. But I was constantly like having like anxiety, like so bad. Like my go-to was just like a small bottle of like Pinot Grigio. And I could drink that entire thing easy and like, I don't even know how much time, not a lot. And I would wake up with not a horrendous hangover, but just enough to like make you be like, I need to stop this. Like my stomach would be messed up. My head hurt. I felt nauseous. Your tongue stuck to the top of your mouth. Ugh. And then I would always say to myself, and I remember having these memories so vividly, like I'm not doing it today. I'm not going to go today. I'm not going to go to the store today. Oh, I'd go. And it's so bad, but there's a bunch of liquor stores and just like convenience stores in my town that sell booze. And I would go between them because in my mind, I'm like, if I don't go to the same one every single time, then it's fine. But no, not at all. And I remember this, it was a few months before I quit drinking, and my dogs, as I've said, are like, and my cats, they're my babies. Like I have my son, but then my aunt, like I always joke that I have 5 kids. I'm joking, obviously.
I say that I have 4 kids.
Exactly. Yeah. So I remember I had been drinking and I just was so just depressed and like felt like, my little world was like ending. And I remember texting my brother's girlfriend at the time. And I said to her, if anything happens to me, please take the dogs. Now, I don't know that, like, I have no clue what I was thinking. Like, I don't know. I have no clue. Like, because I've never been one to ever like contemplate like ending my own life or anything like that. But like, I was that dark and that depressed and that sad because of alcohol. Like, it 1000% was of alcohol. And like the fact that I even said that, I'm like, how could I say that about my baby? Like, obviously, God forbid something to happen to me, I want to make sure they be taken care of. But like, it's almost like I was saying, like, I'm going to do something to myself. So take my, like, it just, and that it was when kind of I was like, I have got to do something about this. And 75 hard, I'm telling you. I mean, I know it's like daunting and it is a lot, especially if you go into it not working out, it's a ton because you have to do the 2 workouts a day and one of them has to be outside.
But they can just be small, like light, not small, obviously, but like people think of it as like, okay, yes, there are 75 hard police out there that will be like, you need to kill yourself every single workout. No, do the damn workout. Obviously, don't slack it, but do the workout. Even if that means like, your 45-minute walk is like only a half a mile. Like, just do the 45-minute walk outside twice a day if that's all you got. Ride your bike. Like, I don't know. Like, people ask, I mean, it did start getting very like, duh, like I have to do it. But like it's the mental challenge of the whole entire program. And I got to a point probably in the last couple of months where I'm like, I'm going to stop telling people I did 75 hard because I feel like I'm trying to sell a program, which you don't have to buy the damn program, people. You just do it. Or so I'm like, here's my toolbox. This is what I used. And now people are like, oh, you did 75 hard. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
I just think it's got such a bad reputation because people associate it with like, being a meathead and eating protein. And I do eat a lot of protein and maybe I am kind of a meathead. I don't know, but whatever. There's worse things to be called. I'd rather be a meathead than an alcoholic. So that's for damn sure. But I mean, I think it has a bad reputation. And I think to your point, like, you don't have to go like deadlift, 400 pounds on your 45-minute workout. Like, if you want to pull up a YouTube video for yoga, have at it. Like, and I've
done yoga, I've done bands, I've had to do mobility. Like, people are like stretching. Well, I'm like, well, I can call it mobility. Yeah. Because like I don't stretch. So stretching to me is a workout because it hurts.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I know. I've started doing Pilates. I just did it this morning. And just to like incorporate something different into like my workout regime. And that and yoga, I'm like, I am like an old rusty person because I like I'm so sore and just like not mobile. It's terrible. But no, I think 75 hard, it does have a pretty bad reputation, but I think
if it has a bad reputation because people don't like doing hard things.
Exactly. And it is hard. Like, it is like, I mean, the gallon of water a day for me wasn't a big deal because that's been my kind of norm anyways.
But that has been one of the biggest things that I've heard people complain about is, and I even have attackers on my channel saying like, that's not healthy for you. It's healthy for you if you drink it throughout the day. We're not asking you to drink a whole freaking gallon in 6 hours. Yeah. Like, my husband drank a half a gallon probably within like an hour or two and he felt sick. No, you drink it throughout the day.
Exactly.
Like, it cleans your body. And I noticed that if I don't drink a gallon a day, and I've been drinking like gallons since high school. If I don't drink enough water, I feel water retained. Like I have to drink water. And for people that only go from 8 ounces a day to 120 ounces a day,
that's a lot.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot for you, but you break it up throughout the day. Like, I hate when people say that's too much water. It's not too much water. I've drank 200 ounces a day.
Yep.
Like,
same. I mean, the days when it's like super, super hot here and like my gym is it's a warehouse, like I said, so there's no air conditioning or anything, and you just sweat your face off, which is fantastic. But like those days I'm probably close to 2 gallons of water a day, but my body is obviously used to it. But I mean, to your point, like if you sit and drink a gallon of water in one sitting, yeah, of course you're gonna feel like crap. But I mean, water is good for you. And I mean, the diet piece, I just followed like macros. Like that's kind of what I do to begin with, or had been doing. And that to me wasn't, I will say though, since I quit drinking, my like sugar addiction, which is common, has gone through the roof.
I have a question about that though. So a lot of people in the very beginning say that they start craving sugar, and like it's so hard when you're doing 75 hard because you're quitting drinking and you're craving sugar, but you can't have alcohol and you can't have sugar. So for me, I found I made a lot of chocolate protein treats, like with protein powder, and that really helped. Or I did get I just found like healthy treats made from protein stuff or whatever. But it's hard for me to explain to people how to get past those sugar cravings, because for people like me and you that did 75 hard and we quit drinking, like we had to figure it out. We couldn't go eat the ice cream. But that was my day 76. I did eat the ice cream.
I had a donut. I was like, give them all to me.
But yeah, so those sugar cravings are real. But like,
real.
What did you do to get through those? Because obviously, like,
I ate a lot of like Oikos, like Pro, those yogurts. And I know to some people that smell, I still eat them now. I'm sure there's stuff in them that's bad for you, but whatever. And I know there is like a tiny bit of added sugar, but like I look at sugar as like candy, donuts, ice cream, like the stuff that's like full blown. Like I know someone can be like, there's added sugar in fruit. It's like, okay, well, you know what? I can't be perfect.
Added sugar in fruit. Fruit's a Or like, you go get the dried mangoes, like a dried fruit. Stay away from those. But
but like
people will criticize you. Well, fruit has sugar in it. I'm like, well, no shit. So does carrots. But it's not like added sugar. It's natural sugar.
Natural sugar, yeah. So for me, like I just yogurts. I'm trying to think. Popsicles. No sugar added popsicles. I don't know why. I love popsicles. I think I still eat them now. And because the thing is, like, I will let myself have like sugar now in moderation, but my diet is still pretty, just because like I'm all about like if I eat well, I feel good. So it's like obviously I could easily go eat a bunch of pizza, but then I'm gonna feel like shit. Like I don't want to. Like it's nothing like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my abs. Like I don't really like whatever. I mean, yeah, that does kind of suck, but I'm just kidding. But it's more like what you put in your body like makes you feel good or bad. But yeah, I think during 75 it was just a lot of yogurt, protein shakes. I wish I had my Ninja Creamy. I got one of those for my birthday. Yes, my sister got it for me last 24. And I wish I had had that during 75 hard, because if anyone's going to do 75 hard, that is like a game changer. And all I do with it, because anything that has more than like 4 ingredients, I'm like, I'm not doing this. All I take is just like unsweetened almond milk, whatever protein powder you have, and then just some sugar-free Jello mix. And I just eyeball it. Like I don't really and that's all I put in it. And it legitimately tastes like ice cream.
I kind of do that, but not with the creamy. But somebody asked me about the creamy, but thanks for that, because
of course,
good to know. But I did like just plain Greek yogurt, like Chobani or Too Good plain yogurt, and I would put protein powder, usually chocolate or vanilla, and then I use and then you whip it or stir it until it's like a certain thickness, and then put the Lily's brand chocolate chips. I didn't do that during 75 hard, but now I do that. And then I just want peanut butter one. So I'm like, dude, I'm going to go get some like chocolate, because I only have vanilla right now, but chocolate protein powder, and put those chocolate or those peanut butter chips in it. And I mean, there's so many things that just take that urge of sugar away also. And for those that struggle with like sugar cravings, quitting alcohol. Like there's so many alternatives.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be the same. Like, yeah, of course, I would love to like, sorry, I just gotta pop off my computer. I, would love to eat like Sour Patch Kids and donuts all the time, but then my skin's gonna hate me and my body's gonna hate me. Let's be serious. So there are so many healthy alternatives, and it's just like anything, like it becomes a habit and just becomes routine. And once you cut something out like alcohol, like I don't even think about it anymore. Like, I mean, the only time I kind of ever really, it's not even that I think about it, but it's like if I do travel for work, like in corporate America, alcohol is huge. So for me, those times, it's not even just dealing with the whole, like, why aren't you drinking? You want to drink? Why? I'm like, oh, do you want to wear a sign that says just like, don't ask me? Like, you're not going to offer someone meth and then question why they said no. Like,
I have this new shirt idea or mug idea. Like, I'm going to I told Jonathan, actually, I'll tell you off camera because I don't want anybody to steal my idea.
Yeah, people.
But like, I have a really good shirt idea, and I mean, it's kind of controversial, but I'm like, dude, because it's true. But remind me afterwards.
Yes, definitely. I will remind you. Yeah, but I don't even like think about it. And the same thing with sugar, because I've read so much and watched so many things where people talk about when you quit alcohol, your sugar cravings go through the roof. But it's finding those things in your idea, the protein powder and yogurt. I mean, if you have a yogurt that has like 20 grams of protein and 25 grams, that's 45 grams of protein right there. Boom, voila. And yeah, it's not going to be the same as like, I love crumble cookies. I don't know if you have them out where you are. Yeah. So that's like my son and I get them from time to time, and I'll take like 3 bites and then I'm like, I'm going to throw up because they're so rich, but like I love them. And obviously a yogurt with protein powder is not the same, but I think during 75, it's just, building. I don't know if you read the book Atomic Habits.
I've listened to part of it.
I read that during 75, and it is, if you're gonna do 75, like that's one of the books I do recommend because it's all about building habits. And that's the same thing with like working out and nutrition. It's just teaching yourself to do things differently. And I don't know, I'm very like regimented. Like everyone's like, where do you get your motivation from? And I'm like, I don't even know if it's motivation at this point. If it's just it's like it's dedication, and like going to the gym and eating well is just a non-negotiable for me. It's like it used to be my non-negotiable was I'm going to have a bottle of wine every single night, and then I'm going to feel like dog poop the next morning. And now it's like I want to do things that make me feel good. Like I was at a work conference last year, and there was a speaker, and I could not remember for the life of me what his name was, but he said something that kind of resonated with me, where he said, life is too short to be unhappy, but it's also too long. And it's so true, because it's like, yes, we're only here we all get one go around, but it's also too long to be doing things that aren't serving you. And alcohol is one of those things that just did not serve me at the end. I'll never forget my last drink. Like it was my birthday and we had gone to a Mexican restaurant. And I think I got really intoxicated. And the next day I was at my gym, and the owner of my gym was talking to me, and we were talking about 75 hard because obviously I'd started it. And in the beginning, he was like, oh, you're going to be shredded. And like, I was like so focused on like the physical point of it. And like, yeah, I've said that I don't weigh myself and whatnot, but there has been a huge difference since I quit drinking. But the biggest thing that I've gained from becoming sober is like my mental clarity, and just, like I wrote down 5 things at 500 Days Sober that I've learned. And one of them was, I can actually pull them up. One of them was about just the clarity and being able to deal with things. Like, I feel like when you're drinking all the time, like the brain fog, like we all know that terminology, and it's so true. Like, but now that I'm sober, it's like, I feel like I'm truly feeling things the way I'm supposed to. It's like, cause when I would drink, like my emotions would go from like 0 to 5,000 and I'd be pissed off or sad or whatever the hell it is. And now it's like, if I'm really mad at someone, like I'm really actually mad at you. Like this isn't alcohol talking. Like I'm pissed. Yeah. Or if like I'm happy about something, like you feel things so much more intensely when you're sober. Like, and that for me, and just that relationship that I built with like myself since I quit drinking, and my son and like everyone else in my life, is worth so much more than like what I see in the mirror. Like, yeah, it is cool to see the improvements I've made, but like just the mental clarity and just it's sad and it's scary when you quit drinking because it is like I said before, it is almost like a loss. Like you do like I did kind of go through that period of time of like feeling like lost and lonely. And I was like, what the hell? What am I doing with myself? And I do think also like I have some of the relationships with my friends have changed because I'm not the fun one anymore. Like,
oh my gosh. Deja vu.
Yep. Yeah. Instead of like, let's go to the bar and drink 4 glasses of wine at 12 p.m., I'm like, let's go to a coffee shop and go to a Pilates class. And I do have a ton of friends that are on board with that kind of stuff. But I also have some friends that I don't really see anymore because I don't want to sit at a bar. Like, it's not like I can't be around alcohol. Like, people are like, are you triggered? I'm like, I'm not going to like jump over the bar and start chugging from a bottle. Like, I'm good. It's more just like, I want to do more with my time and I want to be able to spend my days, doing stuff that like fills my cup, and being around booze just doesn't. But real quick, the 5 things I learned from me. I wrote this like whole thing, but I'll just kind of. So hangover-free mornings don't get old. That was my number 1.
Yeah.
Because that is such a true thing. Like if there's anyone that's like thinking about becoming sober, like sleep, obviously, like I think it is when you drink, like you don't go into REM sleep or whatever it is. So even though like you think you're passed out getting the best night's sleep of your life, you're not. And for me, when I first quit, that was one of the things like I could not wait to start to get better at was sleeping, because I slept so shitty in the beginning because I'd removed the alcohol from my body. So, and you get like the night sweats and all that crap. Like I did go through a period of that. But now I joke, I'm like the grandpa at like Thanksgiving that just like falls asleep in an armchair. Like I can sleep anywhere. It's pretty funny. But hangover-free mornings, like just waking up and like never having that like impending doom of like, oh my God, I have to go to work. And oh my God, I feel like crap. And am I going to like throw up in my shoe today or something? But like, you know what I'm talking about? Like just you can never have to think about that. And that is like the best gift on this planet is like, yeah, I might not wake up every single morning like revving ready to go, but like once I'm going, like I'm pretty okay. And just I don't know, like when I leave the gym in the mornings, not so much now because the sun rises so much later, but like when it does rise earlier, like I'll leave and like the sun will be rising and I'll just like take a few deep breaths and I'm like, this is stuff that I would never appreciate before. But it's like now it's like just I don't know, hangover-free mornings, you can't buy that stuff and it is absolutely amazing. Not everyone is going to understand. And I think this kind of ties into like the friend thing. Like, I think a lot of the time people either assume like you were a complete booze bag, like, disastrous alcoholic, which isn't always true. Like I've been asked like, oh, did you go to AA? Like I personally never went to anything like that.
Because we had 75 hard.
Exactly. We did. I didn't need AA. I think AA is a great resource for those who need it. And I think now because like I had kind of looked at some stuff online when I first quit. And it's kind of cool because you can literally attend meetings like in Australia. Like if you're concerned about your nosy neighbor down the road seeing you go to AA meeting, you can literally do it across the world because of COVID now. Everything's at your fingertips. So I personally did not do anything like that, but I think any kind of support and resources that you can find is fantastic. But it's true, not everyone is going to understand. Or like, I'll have people be like joking around, like, "Hey, you want a drink?" I'm like, "Shut up!" Like, it's not funny.
Insert eye roll.
Literally, and I think also too, like my family and majority of my friends have been like super supportive, and it gets to a point where it's like not even a thing anymore. Like it's just like whatever. It's like
on that. People, not everybody's going to understand. I think I just like some friends might distance themselves because your sobriety forces them to reflect on their own drinking. And then others might pressure you because they don't want to drink alone. And then some might mock your choice, making you feel like you're the problem for changing. And then a few they'll truly support you, no questions asked, because they value you, not the alcohol. But
1000%.
Like this is a post going out. That's funny that you're talking about this because like losing friendships hurt, but real friends respect your growth. You will find your people, and it's okay to outgrow people. That's the hard part, I think.
It is very hard, and it's tough because I think like we all have friends that the foundation of our friendship was getting drunk. Like, I think everyone, whether you're sober or not sober, can think of one or two people in your life where it was like, that was your common ground. And it does suck to kind of realize, like, damn, like, our lives are going in separate directions. And I think the point where you said, like, it forces them to look at themselves too. Like, I've had so many people say to me, oh, I wish I could do that. I'm like, why can't you? I'm like, what do I have? Some magic wand or something? Like, I don't have anything. Like, my life is no different than anyone else's. Like, I haven't been blessed with any other ability that no one else has. I just made the conscious decision to say, screw alcohol. You're not having control over me anymore. And I'm a hell of a lot happier now that it's not in my life. But so many people have said that to me, like, oh, I wish I could, but there's always a but. I'm like, what's your, what? Because you don't want to, you know, miss out on a social event? Like, no. Like, it's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. But my relationships have never been better. That kind of ties into the people not understanding, because the relationships that I do have, like specifically with my son, like, it's hard because, like I'd mentioned, I think before we started recording, like, he is towards the end of his high school career. And it's like, I do remember those mornings where I was hungover and I did have to drive him to school and I was just in a bitchy ass mood. And now it's like, I wish I could turn back the clock, because it's like, that's the stuff that sucks. That's the stuff that hurts. So it's like, damn. But I mean, now it's like we are super close, which I appreciate, because I mean, being a teenager, like, I was an asshole when I was a teenager and he's such a good kid. And like, I'm beyond blessed for that. And even beyond like him, like, you know, my relationship with my family and work is another huge one, which I don't want to touch on too much. But I think we can all agree that, you know, working from home and alcohol, unfortunately, it's like goes hand in hand. And it's almost like a joke. And it shouldn't be a joke, because everyone got sent home after COVID and it was like, oh, you know, happy hour at home. It's like, let's not encourage this, people. But I
did fall into the TikTok trend of stay-at-home moms getting wasted all day long.
Yep. See? It's crazy. Like, I think COVID just kind of, there was nothing else to do. It was like they shut down everything. You couldn't even go to the gym. Like, yeah, you can go for walks and stuff, but
so that is complete BS, because the gyms got closed because they weren't essential, but liquor stores were essential.
Yep. It's crazy. Like, COVID was rough, I think, for everyone. And it's nuts that it's been almost 5 years. I'm like, that's so weird. Like, it's so weird. But, you know, I do think working from home, I'm beyond blessed that I'm able to. Like, I love it. I love it. But I do think people take advantage of it 1000%. And, you know, no one knows if you're sitting here, you know, drinking this, that, or the other thing. And it's unfortunate that people still fall into that. But I think for me personally with work, like, since I've quit drinking, like, again, going back to clarity, like, I just feel so much more like on. Like, when I used to be like, oh my God, I have to talk to this person. Now I'm like, I got this. Like, I mean, trust me, I'm not always like that. Sometimes I am terrified. But, you know, for the most part, like, my ability just to like think on my toes, because alcohol just like fogs your brain. Like, it's insane. Like, just even like trying to have like a simple conversation, it's like, I don't know. Brain fog is such a real thing. It's so crazy. But I do think, like, relationship wise, like, whether it's work or personally, like, my relationships have blossomed. But like I said earlier, I do think if it wasn't for alcohol, I wouldn't have dated a lot of people that I did. I did date someone last year completely sober, which was very eye-opening. Yeah, it was good. I mean, great person. We're just not
compatible.
Fine. Not meant to be. It's okay. But that was good, because I think that's another huge fear for people, is dating sober is absolutely terrifying, because it's like, when you have a little booze in you, like, your confidence goes up. You're like, okay, I feel good about myself, but it also makes you have whiskey glasses. So it's not always a good thing. But I was able to date someone, and that was huge for me, because I never thought I'd be able to. But I think right now I'm too selfish to be with anyone, but that's okay. Best shape of my life, obviously, that's a given, like we talked about. I mean, I think everyone, like we were saying, like, you can't out-train a bad diet and you cannot out-train alcohol. Like, there's some statistic, I don't know, I'll probably butcher it, but it says, like, every single time, like, you have like one big night of drinking, it basically like takes away working out for like the past however many days or something. Like, it basically, I don't know the exact specifics, I've read it somewhere, but it's like all that effort we're putting into the gym and, all those, time on the Stairmaster or on the treadmill or whatever the heck you're doing, whatever your, fitness regime is, goes out the window when you drink. Like I was like a puffy, like marshmallow, I feel like when I was drinking, like just like, how it makes you like retain water and just gross. Life is just better, which is another huge one. Like, I mean, maybe I only wrote 4. No, I wrote 5. I can't number things apparently. Life is just better. Like, I think that's like my biggest takeaway from everything is, I didn't have any like crazy thing happen to me where I was like, oh my God, I have to quit drinking. Like, I lost everything. Thank God I didn't have that. But I had a lot of dark moments like leading up to my decision to not drink anymore. And it's like, if I could take anyone that's like questioning whether or not to quit drinking, it's like, you just got to do it. And I know it's easier said than done. I definitely recognize that. But just understanding that once you get past that like 3 months and that 6 months and, you just keep getting more time behind you, like you're able to just deal with life so much easier. Like obviously when bad things happen, like that's not good for anyone and it's tough, but everything's just brighter. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't even know if I'm making sense, but it's like I don't know. I think finding a hobby helps. Like for me, like working out has been like a savior for me. Like it's definitely been, I could talk about the gym for hours. Like everyone's like, Nicole, be quiet. But it's so good for you. And, I get excited to work out and I get excited to, move my body. And I'm grateful I get the ability to do that because not everyone can. Like not everyone has the ability to stand up on their own 2 feet every single day. And removing alcohol really just made what was my passion and turned it into like my extreme passion because it just, I don't know, the whole like endorphins thing, I'm a huge believer in that too. Like I do think that when you work out, like it does definitely like produce endorphins, but I don't know, like if anyone is thinking about becoming sober or, is at that point I was at where I was just like, this blows, like something has to change. Like just leaning on like people around you that love you and like with your posts, like with friends and stuff, like those who do support you will be there for you. And the ones that don't understand or don't want to understand or whatever, then they're not really your friends to begin with. I know it's kind of crappy to say, but it's true.
Well, and I feel like when we quit drinking, there's a part of us that just grows. And I think that's the part that we outgrow people because we're growing and they're not. And it's like, well, you either come with me or you stay behind me. And
1,000%.
I don't have time for that anymore. I don't have time for the high school games, the pettiness. Like I was just telling my husband this morning, I was like, I'm really lonely this week. I'm just really lacking like female interaction.
Yeah.
And because I noticed that when I do see my girlfriends more, like I feel better, but it's like I was always the one that got everybody together and now nobody invite like still like once in a while I'll get invited to things, but I don't get invited anymore. And like I have to do the inviting and it's just like, okay, well I already invited them like 2 times past and I still haven't gotten an invite to like hang out. And
do you think that's like because you don't drink anymore?
I just think I have had some like one friend and I still hang out with her. We go to church every Sunday. And it's funny because like our friendship wasn't built on alcohol, but she's like, I do. She's like, how does she say it? Anyway, she's like, I did have a brief wind of thought, like, what do we do now? And I was like, well, good question. I don't know, like sit around and just like talk.
Go to a bookstore. I don't. It's so crazy though, because like I used to think about everything, like when in my drinking days, it was like I would only do something if I knew there was alcohol involved.
Same.
Like, yeah, I would like say I did a Pilates class with my friend. I'd be like, okay, we're going to that, but then we're going to get mimosas. Like everything I did had to have alcohol attached to it. Now I'm like, I love coffee. Like I've always liked coffee, but like my thing now is like going to different coffee shops. Like I think that's fun, and I don't know. I love caffeine. It's great. But No one come at me for that. I know caffeine has.
I know, like I get all sorts. Like, well, caffeine's a drug. Well, you know what? Like
you know,
caffeine may give me a heart attack if I drink too much with certain whatever. But
exactly. But no, like that was the thing. Like everything I did, everything and anything, like had to have alcohol attached to it. Like it's insane. Like just I'm even like the simplest things. I'm like, oh, can I have a drink? Can I have a drink? And if I couldn't have a drink there, like I was one that would like drink before or, you know, yeah. That's I'm not proud of like who I was before. And I mean, I never really did anything to like put myself in like super danger or anything. Like I wasn't one that would like get in my car and drive. Like I have family members that have gone through that and it's just horrible. And you know, it's terrible. It's so dangerous. Like, and if any of my friends ever do that, I'm like, you're a freaking idiot. Like call Uber. Like there's Ubers everywhere now. Like there's no excuse anymore. Yeah. But like, I wasn't that kind of person, but no, every single thing I did socially had to have alcohol. Like, it's like I like couldn't, like, I didn't know how to like talk to people unless I had booze in me. And now I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't really want to have to talk to a lot of people on a daily basis to begin with. But like, you know, it's so funny. And I think also too, once you are sober, like you realize the confidence that you already have that's just been like buried. Like I was always like, I'm nervous, I need alcohol. Or like if I had to like, you know, go do something I didn't want to do, like have a drink to take the edge off. And now I'm like, I can do this myself. Like I'm totally 1000% capable of being in this situation. And if I'm not happy, like I'm just going to get out of there. But no,
how long did it take you to get to that point?
It's a good question.
Obviously the first, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the first year I feel like was just getting through those firsts.
Yes.
And then I feel like closer to my 1 year, I started like realizing like, oh, I am the same person. I just am not drunk anymore.
I'm not drunk. So funny. I would agree. I think the first year was, to your point, like a lot of firsts, like, you know, going to a birthday party and being the only sober one and, you know, going to a wedding sober and, you know, going to a work event sober. Like it was a lot of firsts. And now, yeah, it's just kind of like, it does take time. And I think that's one of those things that's frustrating is like, we as a society want like instant gratification and we want like, you know, that's why I love Amazon because it's like, I can get something the same day. This is great. This is wonderful. But you know, we want something immediately, but with sobriety, like it does take time. Like it takes a lot of time and everyone's journey is different, obviously. Like you can hear my story and then hear the next person's story and they might be completely different just because we're different individuals. But I think I definitely say after a year and then right around, I'd say the 500 days, which I know is so daunting for some people because it's like, oh my God, 500 days is when I just like, I don't even know, like I've always known who I am, but it's like I just have this like sense of peace with myself. I don't know, it sounds kind of weird, but like I'm just content. And it takes you a long time to get there because, you know, like we were saying, you lose friendships and, you know, there's all these changes in your life, but it's like, I finally I'm just like, okay, like I'm good. Like I'm just happy. But I do think it was probably between like a year and 500 days. And I do also think it's like, and I'm sure you can agree with this, like every day it's something else. Like every day I'm like, I'm so proud of myself. And I know that sounds kind of corny, but it's true. Like the fact that like we're able to stay away from this drug literally and just be happy and content. It's like, it speaks volumes because there's so many people. They're like, oh yeah, I did sober January. I'm like, well, why aren't you doing sober 2025? Like, let's go. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, it's just, you know, I have a lot of friends too that I can think of one specifically that she's always like, I'm not drinking anymore. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm not drinking anymore. And then she'll drink and then she'll get upset and then she'll get the anxiety. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm like, what is not like, why are you not stopping? Like nothing good is coming from this. But then I think back to like me, you know, 580 days ago, whatever the heck it was. And I was that person too. So it's like, but no, it does take a lot of time. But I think like seeing, like there's, if you just like Google it online, there's, I don't know if it's like by the week or by the month, but they'll like, just like in Google Images, it'll have, what to expect around certain days of sobriety. And I loved reading those. Like I've said, like that to me was, I mean, obviously for guys, like they stop drinking and they lose a ton of weight immediately. Women were totally different. Yeah, we all know that. But like, just like the whole sleep thing, that was huge. My skin, like I've always battled with my skin, always. And even though I was drinking a ton of water, I was basically dehydrating myself with alcohol. So like seeing the improvements in my skin and my hair, just my general mood, like, and I think I loved having those visuals, like, okay, this is what's going to happen around this time. This is what's going to happen around this time. And then, I've read too that like once you get past a certain time, it's like, well, what is there to look forward to anymore? Because it's like we're so far into it. But it's like we get to look forward to every single day and not being hungover. And I will take that every single day because it's just, I don't know, like the feeling of waking up in the morning and not being hungover is like, I wish you could like bottle it up and sell it because we'd be millionaires. Like,
right?
It's so true.
Maybe that's what I should do.
Yeah, try and you should. No, it's just, I don't know. Like, I wish I could like sing it to the hills if I could, like, just that feeling of, and then another massive piece of it too. And I don't know if anyone else, I'm sure people did this, but I was infamous when I was drinking of texting people and deleting it. But this was before, like, how on iPhones now it like goes to like recently deleted. This is before then. So I would like, and I was a feisty drunk, and I'm not a very aggressive person, like at my norm. Like I'm not. I'm very passive. Like I'd rather just walk away. But when I was drinking, I was like, a bitch, and I would, text things to people, and then I'd delete them, and then they'd respond, and I'm like, oh.
So it gives me anxiety just thinking about it.
Yeah. But now I don't have to worry about that. Now I'm like, if I say something to someone, it's because I actually want to. But like, just like stuff like that, it's just like, oh my God. And like, I, for whatever reason, whatever my genetic makeup is, like I would black out a lot.
Same.
Yeah. So there's nights I don't remember anything, like absolutely nothing. And I'm like, well, like, and majority of the time I probably was at home or, with my friends. But even though I'm like, that's not cool. Like, wow, I don't want that. Like, I don't want to wake up like having that, like, and then you would get like the little glimpses of like, what?
So
and you're like trying to piece it together and you're like, what happened? Like, what did I do? But,
and you're so embarrassed to ask how the night ended.
Yes, like because you don't want anyone to know that you like don't remember, and you're like, yeah, it was great. Like, what the hell happened?
Oh my gosh, just brings back so many things.
I know, it's crazy. I mean, luckily, like I've seen other people on your channel that have like gone through some like really like awful things, and I'm beyond blessed. Like I said, like I didn't have any kind of, but I do think that my story is so common. Because, being a mom and, just having glasses of wine every single day and it just being part of your like it was part of my routine. It's so funny now. It's like my protein shake after my workouts, my routine when it used to be my Pinot Grigio. Like that was my routine. And, it was just so ingrained in me just to just drink every single day. Like, and it is hard. Like it's a hard journey to decide to become sober. And like, and I know so many people that are sober curious. Like, I feel like that's a huge thing now. Like there's more and more people that are realizing that alcohol is just not giving anything to them and they want rid of it. But it's like, if I could just get into people's minds and just, try and tell them anything, it's like life is just so much better. Yeah, we also have problems. Let's be serious. Like nothing is perfect, like with work and finances and whatever else it is. But like just your ability to deal with everything is just so much stronger. And, I finally am at a point, 38 years old, where I truly do love myself. And I think that's because I got rid of alcohol. Like Do I think I'm perfect? Absolutely not. And there are days sometimes I'm like, damn it, Nicole. Like, but for the most part, like, if Lucas is doing whatever, like, I'll spend so much time by myself and I'm just fine. I'm totally fine. And before it was like, have to have alcohol, gotta have a drink, and now I'm just like, eh. But I will say to another trick that helped me, and I don't know why I just thought of this. Because I was such a habitual drinker at night, I drink a ton of water, obviously, but seltzer water. And
like
I have those like anthropology glasses that are like ridiculously expensive, and I'm probably going to break them at some point just because I'm a clumsy person, but I'll put ice in them and I'll, use a glass straw just to almost like, and I still do it now, this many days later, just to kind of like trick. I don't even know if it's like tricking myself, but I just like having something to drink. And like, yeah, we can drink out of our Stanleys all day, but like, it's just nice having like,
not the same.
It's definitely not, but like that is a huge, and I know also too, like I've never tried them, but like there's that like you relax stuff out there. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Like it's like
I've done Recess. I've tried Hop Water, Hyo. Yeah. Speaking of Amazon, I think I have a package outside right now of a different brand that I am trying. I'd like to try the benefits
with them.
I think like it really does calm me down because I like those adaptogens and neurotropics. Yeah. But I started taking L-theanine before I quit drinking, which I will give that a lot of credit to me being able to quit drinking because it did calm me down instead of like taking a Xanax or something. I was never prescribed Xanax, but I'm just saying like it's a natural like stress reliever. So I started taking that. My MP psych told me to start taking that when I felt anxious in the evenings instead of like turning to wine. So I feel like it started tapering away, but I really like those drinks because they still just take that like edge off. But I also have the pill form of like the supplements that are in these drinks also. Yeah. But you have to be careful with them. And I just learned this. Like, I'm not a doctor, obviously. But if you're on an antidepressant, like some of these supplements that are supposed to help you can actually like do, I think it's like serotonin overdose or something like that. Like you just have to be careful of. Yeah, and I was just researching some like GABA, radiola. I keep probably botching these names. Okay. There's like 3 or 4 of them that I was researching, and you probably really shouldn't take if you're already taking an antidepressant.
Okay,
but
I don't take anything.
But it does. I like them.
I think I tried Recess. They had it in like Target or something so random one day, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna try this," and I don't remember. I didn't buy it again. So it probably, but I drink like sleepy time tea too. I'm such an old lady, but I like that as well. And I mean, but it at night, true. Like it's so true. Like I think a lot of people that quit drinking, that's like the witching hour was like, after work when, I would pour myself a glass of wine. And that was really difficult at first because I was like, what do I do with myself? Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And like, I don't find it so much now because I read a lot and I just try and and obviously with 75, I was reading too, but I found those hours like after like dinner before bed were like the hardest because that was when typically we were always drinking. And being able to just like turn your mind off and like shut down because that's how we would cope would be with alcohol. Yeah. And I was big on like I do take melatonin occasionally now to help me sleep, but like
I take the kids' version once in a while. Like 1 milligram.
Yep. Yeah. Because we really weird dreams. I don't know. Too. Yeah. So I don't really like to take it all too much. But like I do think having some kind of drink at night definitely helps. And it's almost just like having that like cup. Like I don't know what it is. It's the weirdest thing, but just having that like
fancy glasses just for alcohol. Let's be real.
Right. Exactly. It's so true. And I think that for me was huge, was just like the seltzer. Plus there's no calories in it. Like there's nothing in it. Or if you want, like I never got on like the mocktail thing. Like I think a lot of the time they're so filled with like, and I love sugar like we talked about, but like I'd rather eat my sugar than drink my sugar. That's just me. But
at home I'm careful of what I make. But I will try certain things out if they have a really fun menu. Like I tried an old fashioned, and it was made with pear puree and and it had like maple foam on it. So It was really sweet, and I'm sure there was tons of sugar in it, but it came with the big cube and everything, and I was like, oh, that's really fancy, and it was really sweet and good. But definitely not an I know an old fashioned is not sweet, but like it just came in a fancy glass and probably full of sugar. But at home I make less sugary, or like the ones with just like natural juices.
Yep. Yeah, I just seltzer water is just that's my jam. Like I love it. I don't know. I like the bubbles. I don't know what it is about it, but maybe it reminds me of like a White Claw or something, which I think if I smell a White Claw, I'd probably like throw up at this point.
I can't do the orange seltzer waters. They remind me too much of the White Claws. And I will be like I start like getting, it's not like I'm triggered to drink. I'm turned off triggered.
Yep.
Like put it away, get it away from me. I don't want it.
It's funny though, like when I'm around people that drink, like, and I don't know if it's because like we don't drink anymore, but like the smell of alcohol on their breath and stuff makes me want to vomit. Like before I'd be like, whatever.
I love when people tell me they don't drink and I'm like, I can smell it on you. I didn't have anything to drink. I'm like, BS, I can smell it on you like I can smell a cigarette now.
Exactly.
Like I've always been able to smell cigarettes like miles away because I don't I've never smoked. But now I'm like, dude, you can't lie to me anymore. I'm on to you.
It's so true. Like I was at somewhere, it was for a gym event, and then afterwards everyone went and got food, and like just being around people that drink too. And like I don't want it to come across like I'm being like a snob, because that's not the case at all. Like if you drink, just again, don't be an idiot, but like when people are drunk, they're so annoying, and like you don't realize it until you're completely sober and you're like, okay, you stink and you're annoying. Like, please just get away from me. Like, it's just,
I didn't like drunk people even when I drank.
No,
I drink a lot of times I would drink because I didn't want to be around drunk people, and I was the drunk person. And now I really don't like drunk people.
No, it's gross. Like, I'm like, no, that's why I just don't really go anywhere. Don't have to worry about it.
Isolation is key.
And it is. I know. I'm like, number one, if you want to get sober, don't go anywhere. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, you can still have such a positive social life. Like, I think, yeah, of course, you're not going to be like out in the club. I mean, I wouldn't have been there anyway to begin with. I would have, fallen asleep. But like you can still have a social life, and you can still date if you want to. Like, I know, I've never used it, and I don't intend to, but there's like even like sober dating apps, because I do like I think, and I don't know if it's like sober just from alcohol or sober from everything. I don't really know how it works, but like as a single person, like that is something that's kind of awkward if someone would be like, you want to go get a drink, and I'd be like, no, let's go get a coffee. So like that is a little nerve-wracking, but you can still have a perfectly normal social life. And like I think there's such like a negative connotation behind it. Like, you don't drink, I mean, I don't really go very far, but like, that's just my own personal choice, and it's miserable out, and I don't really want to go anywhere right now. But like, you can still have friends, and you can still have interests. Like, you just kind of have to like shift them. And that's why like the friends I have now, like we do go like to get coffee or go to Pilates or I'm going to get a pedicure tomorrow. Like, I mean, fun, but I would have done that before. But I'd go to the place that serves mimosas. Like that's
same.
That's exactly what I would have done. So it's
about finding your people.
It is.
And I meet so many of you, and I'm like, I just live closer to like,
I know,
these people. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like some of my friendships have actually like, they're more like present now. And like the ones that stayed and whatever, they are also the ones that want to grow as well. So, I mean, friendships definitely change, but at the same time, you will meet your people. And 1000%. I mean, I just like, sometimes I just feel like such a connection with some of you. And I'm like, like I just had like you guys here, me there. Like,
it would be nice if I ever go out there for work. I'll let you know. They send us all over the country sometime. But do you have any friends in your direct circle that have become sober also because you did, or no?
I have a friend. She's on a weight loss journey. She has never really been a huge drinker, but she would probably have okay, this sounds terrible. I don't know. I don't really know her actual drinking history. like when I'm not around. But I know that she has never really had a problem with alcohol, but her parents have a problem with alcohol.
Okay.
So I think she is very aware of that. She's definitely, we can go camping now, and we don't, like, she won't drink. I'll go to her house for dinner. Like, she doesn't drink. I mean, like, I can do so many things with her and we don't drink.
That's awesome.
But I've had a friend back home. She's cut back tremendously, I guess. I've had some friends be like, I just really need to quit drinking. But then it's funny because it's like, I thought I was the one that made them drink. Or like, you know, I would be the one like, oh, let's have
like
wine. Yeah. But then now, like, I'm the one that's not drinking and they're still drinking. So I'm like, maybe it wasn't me.
You're like, I'm not the problem.
Exactly.
Yes. It's true though. Yeah. I mean, I have someone very close to me who I wish I could like get into her brain and just, and she's very much like me, except she's not a fitness person, and she'll always say to me like, I want to quit, like I want to do this. Like she told me the other day she like stepped on the scale and she was just like, you know, not happy with herself. And I'm like, I wish I could just like get into her head and be like, get rid of alcohol. Like if you can,
I have a friend like that too.
Yeah. Because I also think too, like with alcohol, like your inhibitions with everything, including food, goes out the window. So I mean, I was famous for like getting drunk and then eating. I remember when my son was like little and like I would like make him dinner or whatnot. And then like I'd eat like his leftovers at like 2 a.m. in the kitchen. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I eating mac and cheese and dino nuggets? I mean, those are delicious, but like,
I know.
What the friggin' hell am I doing? And like, you know, I think that goes hand in hand too, so much as like alcohol and like a shitty diet. And this person in my life, I'm just like, I just wish I could just like get into her brain and just like get her through that like first, you know, few weeks, those like massive hurdles of like the, oh God, it's 5 o'clock. Like, and just, I don't know. If I could like have a magic power, like a superpower, that's what it would be. It would be like to convince people to quit drinking and just to kind of like see, you know, that
like your weight loss journey would be so much better if you just did not drink the wine at night.
1000%.
And you wouldn't cry about your weight gain. And that's the problem. I'm like, well, you're gaining weight and you're not losing weight because you have not let go of the one thing that's like stopping or that's plateauing you.
1000%. Like alcohol is completely empty calories. There's no benefit to it. There's no carbs, there's no fat, there's no protein, obviously. Like there's absolutely zero benefit to you. Like nothing. Like absolutely.
A sugar high. You can get a lot of sugar.
Yeah. Literally
hit your sugar macros real quick.
Exactly. But no, there's nothing. There's no benefit to it. Like nothing. It's empty calories. Like it does absolutely nothing. And then, like I was saying, like you drink and then you eat shit that you wouldn't normally eat. And it's just like an endless cycle. Like, I don't know. And people, I think one thing that's kind of driving me crazy.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I do have somebody. She doesn't live here. I graduated with her, and I want her to share her story. And I know she watches my podcast. She just sent me a before and after picture of doing 75 hard, and it like made me want to cry. And her testimony and like how I've helped her. And it's like I used to party with her, and we would be shit faced with our boyfriends in high school like all the time, and they didn't leave the small town. And she's completely changed many dynamics since she quit drinking. And we'll ask her if I can maybe not share her face, but
yeah,
I'm telling you, 75 hard is life changing. And if anybody is proof, she is total proof because she is still in the same rut in life. Because, you know, when you live in a small town and you don't leave, you just don't know any different. Yeah. But she's changing the path for her family. And awesome. I'm just like, I am so freaking proud of you. And she was like, you're making me tear up. I'm like, I have goosebumps. Like
that's so cool.
Phenomenal. And she's like, you don't know how many lurkers you have. And I was like, I that's changed somebody's life that like I knew and I partied with. Like I was going through old pictures and I have a picture of us chugging Black Velvet. And I mean like, yeah.
Like, that's just so amazing. And that's like proof. Like, and I think the people that like hate on 75, it's like, yeah, people do it for the wrong reasons. And I've seen it firsthand. I've seen plenty of people that, you know, start it. And then, I mean, granted, I didn't finish it the second time, but that was my own personal choice. But like, I've seen plenty of people do it for the wrong reasons. But then there's so many people that do it. Your friend is a prime example, and ourselves, that like it 1000% transformed our lives. Like if I could, go shake Andy Frisella's hand and be like, thank you, I would.
I just want to hug that man.
I know, exactly. Like, yeah, it is challenging. And to some people, it might be unhealthy. And I do think if your baseline is like 0, you don't work out, you eat like crap, you don't drink water, you drink like a fish, then yeah, it is going to be a huge shock to your body. But luckily, someone like for me, I didn't already incorporate a lot of the things that you have to do. It was just like intensified. And it is literally, if you do it for the right reasons and if you have the right mentality, it is 1000% life changing. Like I've said, like I truly do not know if I would be sitting here if it wasn't for 75 Hard. Like I think I do think I would have quit drinking at some point because I think I just had to. Like it was a slippery slope, and like my mental health was just so messed up. Like I've never really been in therapy, and like I was considering therapy, but like I just really needed to quit drinking. That's all it was. But like 75 Hard, I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea, and it is hard, but it's meant to be hard. Like it's meant to challenge you. It's meant to.
It's not 75 soft. It's not 75 medium. It's 75 hard for a damn reason.
I saw like on YouTube or something that like people were doing 75 soft, and like I have to give them credit for doing something, but at the same time, it's like just do the damn thing. Like we all, and I this saying drives me nuts, but it's true. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. And I think I'm blessed with like the fact I do work from home, and I'm so lucky I have that. So yeah, yes, I do have the ability. I go to the gym at 4 a.m. every single morning, and again at like 6. And I'm very blessed where I can do that. And I understand not everyone has that flexibility, but like if you really want something that badly, you're going to do it. Like when I'm on the Stairmaster at 5 a.m., like hating my life, I always watch David Goggins. I don't know if he's watched it. Yeah. And like he's just like basically calling you like a bitch ass and just to like do what you have to do. But it's true. And it's like with 75 Hard, like, yeah, it sucked. Like I did it around my birthday, like I said. So it was the summer, which was definitely good. And I just walked my dogs for my outdoor workout. I mean,
same.
Yeah, that's all I did. And then I went to the gym, and like, yeah, it's freaking challenging. But like the fact that like your friend literally is like, that's proof that it works. Like her life is a
different person.
It's insane.
And my neighbor who has 2 kids, one's in middle school, I think they're at, I don't know, 12 and 14 maybe. Both play like 2 sports, both go to like a school that's like 20 minutes away. She's a nurse. He's a physical therapist, like a breathing physical therapist type doctor.
Yeah.
And such a busy lifestyle. She finished 75 Hard. If anybody had an excuse, it was her.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the thing. Like I've known people too that have, got like in-person jobs where they have a commute and they have all this grabbing kids and, responsibility, and they're able to do it. So it's like, it's 75 Hard 1000% is a mental toughness challenge. Like, yes, there is the physical aspect of it where you have to work out, but it's like knowing like, okay, for 75 days is a long time too. Like, I don't think you really realize. Nala agrees. She did it with me. But I don't think you really realize like how long 75 days is. And it is 1000% the kick in the butt that some people need. And like, I always say to people like that maybe are like starting their fitness journey or whatnot, it's good to start small. And that kind of contradicts 75 Hard, because 75 Hard is like going all in. But if that's what you need, and if that's what you need to quit drinking and to start your fitness journey or to improve your fitness journey or whatever the heck your goal is, like you're so locked in and you're so dialed in that like you don't have time for the bullshit. And like you're so hyper focused on like getting it done. And it's all about building habits too. Like, yes, obviously I had my donut and you had ice cream or whatever when we finished it, but we didn't go back to the negative habits in our lives, i.e. drinking. And I think that's what the point of it is. Like, I know so many people that have done 75 Hard, and then on day 76, they get shit-faced.
Yes.
And I'm like, you just took all this hard work and threw it out the freaking window. Like, or like even reading, like,
I feel like if you don't do it at 100%, that's when you go back. Like, like you have to have integrity during this program. Yes. And if you don't have the 100% integrity and maybe you lied that you actually finished it, I think those are the mindsets that go back, because like people like me and you that were probably like we had integrity and we're honest about it. Like we did it fully in our brains. It changed our life.
1,000%.
You have to go into it 100% and not half-ass it at all or lie about it. Like, I mean,
no, you can't. You got to give it your all. And again, if I can give Andy or a hug or a handshake or something, I would, because I mean, it's a challenging program, and it is hard. It's going to piss you off, because I remember some days I was like, I have to work out again. Like, I don't want to. Like, I'm like, this is miserable. Like, I hate this. Especially like the walk, because like I don't mind walking. Like, I walk my dogs even now, but I don't walk them for 45 minutes a day. That's for damn sure. Like, it is way too cold. But it's the habits that you instill in yourself, and then you're able to carry those into your everyday life. That is the point of 75 Hard. Like,
I think people lack a lot of discipline.
Oh my gosh, 1,000%. Because it's 1,000% discipline. Like, it's not necessarily motivation, it's discipline. Because that's the thing. Like, when my alarm goes off at 3:30 on a Monday morning, and I'm like, this is miserable. But I'm like, Nicole, you got this. And I will like argue with myself. And I probably sound insane, but like, I always say, I'm like, Nicole, if you don't get up and go to the gym right now, you're going to be so pissed off at yourself all day. And I do get mad at myself. I'm like, you freaking idiot. Like,
same.
But it's discipline. Like, it's 1,000% discipline, and not, unfortunately, people just, I don't want to sound like a meanie, but people just don't have it. Like, and they want like a quick fix. They want to be able to take a pill and have this or have that, or, have something happen in 30 days. And it's like, that's not the way the world works, like, at all. Like, it takes discipline. It takes dedication. It takes, you got to have non-negotiables with yourself, and you have to hold yourself accountable. And I think 75, this is like a plug for 75 Hard. We should definitely get some kickbacks from him or something. Like,
I reached out to him. I actually sent him an email because I was like, dude, I want to, like, I don't know. I don't know. My goal is to one day be on his podcast and share.
That would be amazing. I think it's because I do think, like, I don't think I've really listened to a ton of his podcasts, but I think that
he's brutal. I mean,
I'm sure
if you're easily offended, you ain't gonna like Andy. But like, I'm not easily offended, so
no. And I think that to have like two women, like, we're basically the same age, we're moms, like, and we were able to do it with all of the distractions we have in our life. And like, again, yes, I am blessed where I work from home and my son is older. I mean, he was younger at the time, obviously, but like, I still have all the other crap to deal with in my life, but it's like, I still did it. I still went, and I still, again, it's all about building those habits. And I last week, I think when I was supposed to meet with you, I did have the flu and it was miserable. That was the first time since I've done 75 Hard that I took 3 days off from the gym, which I know some people are like, that's crazy. But like, when I go every day, like, I'm not, throwing around weight. Like, I might just do cardio for an hour just to move my body. Yeah. But that was the first time since 75 Hard that I've taken 3 days off, because it just, for me, it's like that dedication. Like, plus I'm huge on the gym being good for your mental health. Like, I am a huge advocate for that. Like, I think that the gym it's a great environment. It can also be a very toxic environment. Yes, I completely agree with that. And I think that, unfortunately, like, Instagram has taken it, and one of the reasons I don't have it. But for me personally, like, the gym is just such a positive space. And at my one gym, where I have 2 different memberships, where I go in the morning and do cardio, there's a few women that go there, and they've come up to me, and I don't know them, and they're like, you are so, like, you motivate me so much. And I'm like, this is why I do that. I'm like, that is so freaking cool that, like, these complete strangers that, like, we see you here every single day. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like, I also was asked, though, recently by a male if I'm happy because I have abs. And I was like, that is the strangest thing. Yes.
Is he jealous of your abs?
Apparently. I'm like, I'm very happy because I don't drink. Thank you.
Try putting the bottle down and you might get a 2-pack.
Exactly. Like, oh gosh. Yeah. But that's kind of my story in a very long nutshell. Again, nothing crazy happened. I hope that if anything, one person can hear what I said and kind of relate, because I do think my story is relatable. Like, I think it's very common. And I hope that, if anyone wants to make the change, just do it, man. And I'm all for 75 hard, hate it or love it, but I think it's, a tremendous
broken record right here.
Exactly. I know. Well, I am too. I'm always like 75 hard. Oh, you're going to do 75 hard? I'm like, oh, you're doing it. Oh, you're doing it. And like, I've had friends that have tried to do it and then they've quit. I'm like, damn you.
Right. Yeah.
But no, 75 hard all the way. And Andy Frisella, call us. We'll come be on your podcast.
Yes. How about both of us? Let's just go. Go knock on his door in Missouri.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for being here. And I really appreciate you sharing your story. I could probably talk to you for another hour, but
I know I talk a lot. It's that other, but
well, there's so much to talk about.
I know my brain's like, but yeah, no, it was fantastic. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.